So really what the fundamentals of good suburbs in the Central Coast is really, first things first, not unlike, but similar to all other locations, consistently low supply and demand from a wealthy income demographic are important. So to give you an idea, consistently low supply, because the Central Coast is quite dispersed, is not necessarily a very common thing. It's in certain suburbs and corridors where this happens. And demand from a wealthy income demographic is, should I say, a very much so a thing that isn't in demand everywhere. It's only in certain areas. And it can be even a wealthier demographic that live there at the moment, because you're not going to get your eastern suburbs or North Shore buyers of Sydney buying here. Really, it'll be people that will improve the nature of the suburbs. So it's not the same income level, but it's still a very much so improving level. So that's important. Access to high-paying jobs / transport and lifestyle triangle are important. Look, the Central Coast being so dispersed out, there are a few key corridors where this is apart. So the two main ones are pretty much Gosford to kind of like Terrigal / Avoca, and that's kind of like Lake Haven around the southern part of the lake, around the southern part of Tuggerah Lake towards the entrance. That's the other past Tuggerah and Wyong. That's the other main sort of corridor that are important. So in the Central Coast, those areas inadvertently improve the lifestyle triangle a lot, because when you have, let's say, 15-minute to half an hour travel time from school to work to lifestyle areas, people love the area and they can still actually live here and go work hybrid possibly in Sydney 2 days a week for maybe an hour, hour and a half each way, and they're perfectly fine. Like, I mean, when I was in the corporate world, I actually worked in Hornsby for a little while, and there was people that lived literally in past Lake Haven that would only take 56 minutes to an hour and 15 to actually drive to work in Hornsby. So, I mean, they could have got the train even to Chatswood in a similar kind of amount of time, or maybe an hour and a half to the CBD. So it's pretty good for people like that too. Long-term residents are very important in the Central Coast. Not all locations have long-term residents in the Central Coast. Some are newer estates and newer developing estates. So just keep that in mind. It's not the same for everyone. Future infrastructure, that's another one. A lot of the infrastructure I'm talking about, though, is not necessarily just built infrastructure. I'm talking about particularly the employment and transport hubs. So if they're close by to both of them, it'll generally do very well, because it's helping both, should I say, reasons, and it's actually helping gentrify the suburb as well. And it'll have people that move in that will stay longer term too. School zones, it's not exactly the same as your Sydney private school zone, because there's not that many. There is Central Coast Grammar School in, should I say, in the Central Coast as well. But that's obviously one important one. But I also mean just well located in terms of both, should I say, public primary schools, public high schools, maybe Catholic schools as well. If you're located close to a lot of them, you're doing pretty well. Again, it helps the lifestyle triangle. That's the reason I'd say it is very important in the Central Coast. So just keep that in mind. These are fundamentals for good Central Coast suburbs. Really, what's driving the market now? I've got the point number one is definitely affordability, and I've gone dash 5% deposit scheme. So the whole Sydney Basin region, which is pretty much Shell Harbour right up to Newcastle, that's a Sydney Basin region, has a $1.5 million price cap to that. No income caps as well. So a lot of people here and suburbs would fit under $1.5 million. So it's nearly the whole area that's going to be affected by it. So you can just imagine suburbs that are especially around the low 1 millions and right above that are just going to just rocket up and continue to go, because especially removing the income caps, like, I mean, it's only going to benefit the wealthy families. You can pay their family members more and more just to get the loans. That's just what's going to happen. So, I mean, plenty of people in Sydney, even who don't need that, can still afford in the Central Coast as well. So it's really going to become a larger sort of thing where it drives prices up. Transport / employment is another important one. This area really, in terms of employment and transport, is very important, because, as I said, with people moving from other areas, especially Sydney and Newcastle, you're going to see people really start to push prices up close to the transport and employment hubs here, because there'll be people who start to get better jobs around there as well. So that will continue to push up, and the wealthy Sydney siders will move up there. I mean, I know someone who knows everyone who works at Pandora. Then there's some C-suites that even live at Wamberal, to give you an idea. And I mean, you wouldn't expect that, but there's plenty of them that live on the Central Coast there. So that's something just to be aware of. Lifestyle triangle, another thing. I've mentioned it just in the past. There are areas of the Central Coast with an extremely good lifestyle triangle. People are very happy and they don't want to leave once they get there. So that's an important thing. I mean, I think this is a photo of Kilcare. That's it, or maybe Avoca or something. So that's like a good example of a good area to live. Lifestyle Triangle and Kilcare is probably not as good as Avoca, but Avoca is a good example of one. Raw undersupply and demand demographics, I did mention it before. I mean, some of these suburbs are becoming very tightly held. Some of these suburbs, their stock levels since COVID have like thirded and quartered, to give you an idea. So what's happening is it's just people fighting over the same stock, and it's just pushing prices up pretty much. I don't want to say to the moon because it's kind of too much of a colloquial term that people use, but it's pushing prices up incredibly much. Not much, incredibly. So what's kind of going on here, I mean, is you're getting so many people that are buying like these properties for such high prices, and it's only going to continue. So really, in the Central Coast, this is what's driving the market. What's going on here is you can expect in probably 10 years, it'll be the same price as probably Sydney. The Central Coast is already considered a part of Sydney in terms of property, but really it's going to continue. Prices are going to continue to go up here. I don't know whether it's necessarily the best thing, but it's inevitable what's going on here. So that's what's driving the Central Coast property market.